so this is the project that I have prepared that will be rigging today from scratch. I haven't worked on this before. I thought it would be fun not just to have objects, because objects are cool, but it's actually also very cool to be able to try this on a living character. Let's start from the basics. Let's say that you're new to Spine. This is your first stream. You kind of were captivated by the physics, and so you came to the stream here. You're wondering how to create a character for animation. One of the first things that we can notice about characters for animation is that we divide our characters in parts and we draw also the parts that are behind. This is a crucial aspect of creating characters for animation. Okay, so you see. And everything that you want to be able to move has to be on its own layer and separate from the rest, so basically its own asset. The more we divide a part, the more we're gonna have control over the parts that we have in Spine. Okay, so here I want to be able to move this hat, and I also have a shadow that I want to be able to control. So for these, I divided all these parts, and I also want to be able to rotate this afterwards, so I divided that too. So it's important to divide these parts. Then, even on parts that maybe you're not gonna directly see, but you never know, because this skirt is gonna move a lot, I actually also drew the part underneath by giving her bloomers, so she also has fully functional legs. Now, let's actually get this all back together. So, first step of animation is actually having good assets that you're starting with. You have no idea how many times I saw characters that only had these parts all drawn together of the hands, etc. The more you divide them, the more you're gonna be able to make full use of the physics as well as the other aspects that are available in Spine. Of course, you don't have to divide everything too much. Like, for example, here I could have divided the gown, the skirt, into several sub pieces, but I have no interest in getting the skirt to move that much and change position, so it's kind of staying like this. So where do we start to create a rig for our characters? A good idea, if you have a character that is biped, is to start generally from the hips, because usually they are your center of gravity. In this case, instead, the character is actually not starting, originating from the hips and with the, touching the ground. We could imagine that maybe here is the ground, but I kind of instead envisioned this character soaring in the sky. I also prepared some little stars up here. I don't know if you can see them. So instead, the origin of this project is not gonna be around here where I placed it. The thing that is gonna move my character around is gonna be this cloud here. So I'm gonna have a hierarchy that starts from the thing that moves the rest of the skeleton, then going down to the bench, then the character is attached to the bench, and then I rig the rest of the character starting from the hips. Okay, so these were like the very basics. So we mentioned what's the logical order for these. Let's actually start creating the bones. To create a bone, make sure that you're in setup mode, select the create tool, then select, in this case, the root, because we have no other bones, and there always needs to be a bone to be the parent bone. I'm gonna be selecting the cloud and also the back of the cloud, and then I'm gonna aim for the middle. Okay, there we go, cloud front, perfect. I could also rename this to cloud, but I have to uncheck rename slot and rename attachments so they don't also get renamed. Alright, now I have my cloud bone. If I want it to be super precise, I generally do because I can't resist having them really neatly placed, I can set the translation to 0, and here I can round this up. Yeah, perfect. Then let's create the second bone. Of course, this step is meaningless, it's just because I like to have round numbers, you don't have to do this. Then the next is gonna be the bench. So for the bench is connected to the cloud through these golden things. I'm actually gonna create a bone for the bench. Okay, let's reason on the kind of movement that I want and what I want the movement to be dragging it from, because based on that I can change where the bone is gonna be placed. If I place it in the front, I could maybe control the one in the back with another bone. I could place it in the middle and have two bones, kind of constrain them, and have it also work that way. I think I'm gonna go for the front one because yeah, I'd prefer to control this via this side here because it's the one that is most visible, and instead maybe control this other part afterwards, or maybe I could parent that to this first bone, and so we get a kind of a swinging motion that is following a little bit the 3D movement that way. So I think for this reason I will be placing a bone here. Now, there are multiple ways we could create the bone structure here. For example, I could create, and I'm sure some of you would be creating that, a chain of bones that follow from here to here, and these bones will have this bone here at the end. Me, I don't want to have this many bones. I hate having many bones in general, and so I'm just gonna be placing a bone here because it's where I need it. Then I want to create the other bone on the other end, so I already have that control. So I kind of reselect the image so I can tell where the other end of the bench is, and I'll create that there. Okay. Then at this point I have these main bones. What I could add to this structure is actually a control on the cloud that controls where this rope is going and where this rope is going. So I can also use this to create a bit of a 3D effect on this. I think I'm gonna add those bones. So I'll select this as the parent bone. Then I control to select the image here, and then I click OK, and I parented the rope to that. Then I'm gonna do the same here on this side. I want to move it a little bit up so it's not visible, and I'll create the bone, so parent bone. Hold the control, select the image, release control, press, rope back. And voila, I'm starting to have a structure. I'm gonna save. Now let's actually focus on the body. I'm gonna start from the hips as mentioned. I actually want this to be the parent bone because she is sitting on a bench after all. And I'm gonna be placing the first bone maybe here in the middle of this. And then I'm gonna create 1 or 2 bones. How many bones? Maybe 2 bones. Because with just 1 bone I could just get her to bend generically. With 2 bones it's gonna be better. Okay, so I'll reselect this just to see the shape. I'm gonna be creating the bone here for the spine. It's called body bottom, but I'm gonna be changing this to just body for now, and then I'm gonna be renaming it actually. And then I'm gonna be splitting this into 2 nested bones. There we go. Ah, it's also perfectly placed. Is it though? So I like where it ends, but actually if I have to imagine a rib cage, it would start a little bit more down. It kind of, your body cannot bend at that height. It would bend more at this height. So I actually am gonna change where this is placed, and I'll move it a little bit more down. Ah, yeah, actually. To make a bone shorter, I can change the length from here. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Now it ends there. Then I'm gonna add some more bones. The legs are easy, so I start from the hips again. And I'm gonna be selecting, let's see, first the back leg. So select the create tool, select the leg. Okay, I'll start from more or less the middle of these. I also have to imagine a circle. Okay, and aim for the middle of that circle to create my bone like this. And then I can create, okay, the rest of the structure. Ah, this is gonna be so nice when it moves. And then I'm gonna be creating also the other leg. So again, same trick. I don't even have to disable the visibility of images. It's so convenient. I just select with control the image after selecting the parent bone, which is always the hips. Then I aim for the imaginary circle here, click and drag. Okay, I'll aim for more or less here, then here, and then here. Voila! At this point, let's focus on this area here. I cannot avoid this any longer. I know everyone is wondering about how to do the chest, right? So, how would I approach these and get it to move nicely? I do it with a single bone. And I just place the bone like this in the middle. That's gonna be it. Then if I want, for example, this accessory here to also be able to move, this accessory is attached to the neck, for which, by the way, I can already create a bone that starts from here and ends here. Okay, super easy. But I know some people may think to parent this to the neck because it is attached to the neck. Instead, we're gonna be attaching it to the body because it rests on the body normally. Then I'm gonna be selecting the image and I'm gonna be placing the pivot here from where it is attached. But the parenting starts here so it doesn't rotate when the neck rotates, basically. Pointing up. For the face, I think I'm gonna add a face control here. Face control. And if you're a stream aficionado, you're gonna recognize this setup because I use it a lot. And an inverse maybe here to get the head to do a little bit of rotation. So face inverse, and I already have these set up. Awesome. I think I'm gonna be creating a bone to control the hat. I could give it a length. It's not gonna bounce up and down. Yeah, no. So I could already give it okay, maybe okay, a length like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna create the bones to control the feathers, and then to control these I'm gonna create just 2 bones like this, and it's gonna control all of these. And you're wondering, but you have 4 feathers, why are you just creating 2 bones? Well, if you assign different weights to these meshes, they are gonna behave differently. But you just need one control to control the bunch of them all in one go, which is lazy and convenient. So for the hair is complex. We could have a bunch of controls, or we could have very few. In the past, I like to have bones for each of these hair. I think I'm gonna try the minimal version of these with less controls. And then, if it's not working nicely, I'm gonna be adding the additional bones. So for all of these, I could have one single bone that starts from the middle of the head to the bottom. Then I'm gonna be splitting this into 2 nested Fibonacci bones. I'm also gonna have the hair control in the front on the 2 sides. So this and the other side. Gonna be starting from here. And also another one on the other side here, actually as a child of the head. So what matters is actually where this is starting and not where it ends. So even if it does not overlap the art, it's gonna be fine. I love to do missing links, which means that I skip a bone that it's supposed to be there, and to get some free 3D effect. Now in this case, I think I'm gonna skip the bone for this arm in the front and just pretend that I have free IKs on the hands. So perhaps I can skip the path constraint completely and just wait these to follow the chain here, and then get this to wait at an in-between position. Oh, it would be like black magic. I haven't tried this. Let's see if this works. If it works, it's gonna be really cool. If not, it's gonna be fine. We tried. And but maybe, and that, yes, that's something that I want to do. Instead, I want to try to add some control here on the shoulders to create the 3D effect like this. Okay, so when she moves, it's gonna be nice. And to do that, I'm gonna be selecting here. Yeah, I want to use the middle of these anyway, so here. And then I'm gonna create, I should have reselected the art because it's easier to see when I have the art. Okay, also here. So that's my parent bone, this is the art, and that's the control. Perfect. And I'm not gonna create bones for this part, which is super counterintuitive, but trust me on these, okay? We're gonna see if this works or not. And then let's see, I'm gonna be doing also the same on this other side. Okay, then let's see lastly the placement of the wings. And then for the control, I'm gonna be doing them like this. So from here, then it goes up, and then again here, and then it goes up. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna demonstrate one of the simplest things, which is here the little feathers. As we have seen a very simple mesh earlier, now we're gonna see a slightly more complex mesh and setup, despite having very simple controls. Select the image, check mesh, edit mesh. I'm gonna use the trace button. Let's have less detail. Yes, okay. So I want a very simple mesh. Actually, this serves me nicely, so I'm gonna keep it. This doesn't, so I'm gonna destroy that. Okay, this also serves nothing, so I'm gonna simplify it. Okay, because it's only controlling this portion, so it's not very interesting. Okay, then I'm gonna create more vertices here so this part can bounce and be nice. All right. Okay, they're gonna bounce at the same speed around here. If I wanted them to have different speeds, well, I should have separated the images for once. In this case, I don't care about having them separate. Maybe just the tip here. Or maybe I want to have them separate, but only starting from here. That would also work. So if I do this, this last portion is gonna be slightly separate than the rest. Yeah, that can work. Let's try it out. Then I just bind them here. And I could change the weights immediately. For now, I'm gonna apply generic weights. Yeah. It's not gonna change the weights in here, but that's okay. I'm gonna regulate them afterwards. And in here, I'm gonna change the mesh. I'm gonna use the trace button again, isolate, so I can see a little bit better. This way I can deform them a little bit better internally. Oh, if I add an orange loop like this, automatic weights are gonna be working. Perfect. Binding. Even too many vertices actually, well, whatever. And I'm gonna be changing these so they have more influence of this pink bone, but not too much. And then smooth them. Alright, let's have a testing animation. Now I can do this without seeing the result because I've done something similar so many times, but a very good practice is to switch to animate mode and instead create a test animation like this and rotate in the opposite direction like this. Well, it is working already nicely, but I kind of want them to stay in place. So for these, to actually get them to stay in place, I'm also gonna add the hat bone here and also here, so I get more range. I can add more hat weights so they kind of stay in place. Oh yes. 1, 2, and 3, and I'm gonna add more hat influence. Okay, I don't think it's ever gonna reach this. Then to make it interesting, I'm gonna change the weights just for this side and instead stay more with the hat. So it's basically more rigid. Okay, and that works. Then I'm gonna change the weights for these in the back so that they too are following more of the hat. Okay, that rotates a lot. I want more of these. Oh yes. Okay, and as you can see, with these bones, you can control a bunch of them. So let's go back to setup. If we want to get the bones for these to work when everything is moved, physics constraints, it's already working on rotations. I think I don't need to change anything. So I'll get a testing animation that moves maybe the root. Okay. I like moving the root for testing. And moving this to the side. Ah, it's already perfect. I'm so happy. Just set that up and it works out of the box. Look at this, it's so cute. That's it. That's how you get it to work. So I'll go in here, open the preview. Then I go on the feathers and it was doing that ugly move. Now it's not doing it anymore and it's super smooth. What's the deal with that? So I'm gonna turn the strength off a little bit so it's a bit more feathery. Ah, it's beautiful. Okay, that's it. For me, that's it. Let's see it here. Play. Okay, so next time we're gonna be rigging other parts of these, make them bouncy, make them nice, so we see some techniques, because I think most of the work is having a good structure of bones and creating also good meshes. Then afterwards, it's just a matter of enabling physics and they just work. So that's what we're gonna be overseeing together. I hope that this stream was useful, at least in getting the basics down, especially with the other projects. I recommend looking the project that I shared, the physics test, if you want to see what the possibilities are depending on the various kinds of bones. And also you have an already working project, which was the little cloud pot. Save changes. Okay. This one, which already had this set. Okay, it's easy, it's satisfying, so you may try this one and play with it. So thank you for staying on this stream with me until now. Thank you and see you next time.